Hey class, this is Professor Globerman of Principles of Marketing 3100, the course you're taking this summer online. I'm super glad to meet you. I thought I'd make a quick video so you get a chance to actually see the person who's behind all these announcements and all these discussion board posts that have been created over the last 4 weeks. It's hard to believe we are in week 4 of 6 of our summer session 1. Hopefully you're keeping up with the material and you're enjoying yourself in this course. I thought I'd make this quick video as Test 2 is approaching this weekend, and just to kind of say hi and give you a few tips on how to approach Test 2. So first of all, let's remind ourselves that Test 2 is specifically on chapters 5, 6, and 7 of our text. So it's super compartmentalized right there. It's open book, so it's pretty straightforward. But let me just kind of tell you what some of the elements of those chapters are so that we're kind of on the same page in case any of you feel more comfortable hearing it from me. Chapter 5. Chapter 5 starts with the buying process and buyer behavior. It's a super important element of marketing. It then moves on to factors affecting consumer behavior, and then finally a bit more detail on the buyer's decision process. Okay, so make sure that you read chapter 5 for elements, definitions, and terms, models around those subject matters. Chapter 6 moves to really target segmentation. The whole chapter is pretty much around the topic of targeting, and targeting is essentially pointing your product or service at a particular portion of the marketplace, right? Not every product or service is made for everybody, right? So it drills down on different forms of targeting and then talks about different ways companies use target segmentation to enhance their marketing strategy. Finally, the chapter ends with a section on product positioning, and this is where marketers decide whether particularly to focus on price versus value, right? Are you creating a similar product in market for less money? Are you providing more value for the same money, right? And there are different ways to think about that, and the chapter does a nice job at highlighting those different ways of doing that. And finally, chapter 7 gets into the differences between product versus service, because there are important differences to understand, specifically when it comes to service and understanding what a service offering is and some of the challenges of marketing service offerings. It's a really good chapter to get a handle on some of that. The chapter then goes through product line decision making, and finally a really important topic, and the topic of this week's discussion board, is branding or brand equity, building brand value. Okay? And that's basically it, guys. Those 3 chapters. Now, I didn't say everything that might show up on the exam, but on the things I just talked about, it covers the super majority, if not every question you're going to see. All right? So you're going to take online test 2 this weekend. The testing window will open up Friday morning, and it will close Sunday at 11:59 p.m. It will again be 25 multiple choice questions, and you will again have 75 minutes. I was happy to see that the class average approached 90% on test 1, about 88-89%. So I'm looking forward to seeing similar, if not better, results on test number 2. Now, most of you were able to complete exam 1 with a lot of time to spare, though I would say maybe 20% or so of you guys seem to need most of the 75 minutes. Let me give you a couple of tips here as far as approaching multiple choice exams, okay? Number 1, don't go into this exam cold. Just because it's open book, guys, doesn't mean to just kind of float to the exam and just think you'll look it up over the 75 minutes. If you do it that way, there's a good chance that you will kind of get all jumbled up as to what's where, and that's just not going to work well on a timed test. I highly recommend, well, obviously read the chapters in advance, but beyond that, create a 1-page review sheet for each of the 3 chapters. Highlight the important things write it down on your own. That will give you the key highlighted definitions and also perhaps a map as to what page to go to for specific topics that may show up on the exam. All right? Number 2, use time wisely. Don't get overly stressed out. You do have 75 minutes. I think it's plenty of time to get through this if you've prepared in advance. But just make sure that you're not kind of going through too slowly so that you end up with 5 minutes to answer the last 10 questions. We don't want that to happen, right? So try to think about the test in thirds. There's 75 minutes. You've got 25 questions, so you should be around question 8 after 25 minutes and question 16 or so after 50 minutes. You know, if you're doing better than that, great. If you're not, if you're moving too slow, you should recognize that earlier in the 75 minutes so that you can catch up along the way. And then finally, in multiple choice tests of any sort, whether it's this one or any class you take later on in next semester and in the future, process of elimination is a really important element, particularly on harder multiple choice questions. When you don't know the answer for sure right off the bat, just take a pause and start eliminating answer choices which are obviously wrong. Okay? Then you can focus your mental energy on that one or two answer choices which you think could be the answer, and then you've got to lock in on what's the best answer. Sometimes there's a second choice which kind of could arguably be okay, but there's always one answer choice which is the best. And if you want to score high, you need to be able to knock those questions out also. I'd say that I created this exam quite fairly. There's a flurry of pretty straightforward, relatively easy multiple choice questions, and then a few, not too many, thought-provoking ones. So I hope you guys knock it out of the park. I want to see awesome scores on Sunday evening. And I will read your assignments, Starbucks versus Dunkin', over the course of this week. So you'll be getting feedback from me on Blackboard. And don't forget to respond to this week's discussion board topic around the topic of branding, also by Sunday. If you have any questions or any concerns, as always, just shoot me an email, ken.globerman@brooklyn.cuny.edu, and I will answer you extremely rapidly. And if you want to have a Skype chat with me or a FaceTime chat or what have you, I'm totally open to it. Just hit me up and we'll make that happen. All right, guys, on that note, I wish you an awesome rest of the afternoon. It's a beautiful day, a beautiful summer day here in New York, and I look forward to speaking with you virtually online. Take care. This is Professor Globerman signing out. Bye-bye.